you guys back to another reaction video. So guys, I'm gonna react to my uncle is psychopath by his story. It's gay, baby.
Yeah,
let's do
9-5. Some guy called cash same day.
Stop the car.
Boss, stop!
Congratulations, son. I was so excited when I graduated from the police academy and hugged my mom. Congratulations, sweetheart.
Wow,
I'm sure your father's
the
proudly
police.
watching down from the heavens. We shared a hug, and then my Uncle Doyle came over wearing his police uniform. He had been my trainer, mentor, and a father figure to me ever since my real dad passed away. Congratulations, son. Are you ready for your first day? I smiled, beyond thrilled. 3 hours later, I was at a crime scene, staring at my first dead body, trying not to get sick. It was a woman in her early 20s, and her mother was next to me crying. I felt so bad for her. Couldn't imagine what she must have been feeling. I took her hand. You have my word that we will do everything possible to find this bastard. She cried, nodded in appreciation. I had noticed skin particles underneath the victim's fingernails, so she put up a fight and clawed the murderer before losing her life. The skin particles were real DNA evidence. Then, while I was comforting the mother, out of the corner of my eye, about 20 feet away, Uncle Doyle took out a bottle of hand sanitizer and cleaned her fingernails, destroying any possible DNA evidence. He repositioned her body back to how it was. Then he hesitated, turned his head, and saw me watching him. I quickly turned away from him in terror and rushed outside. The captain arrived along with a few other cops, and Uncle Doyle briefed them on everything. I saw Uncle Doyle pull the captain aside and say, "It's a cut-and-dry homicide, most likely an ex-boyfriend." The captain nodded. I was horrified and felt betrayed by a man I thought I knew. He just blatantly lied to his own boss. Uncle Doyle got back into the car, and we drove in eerie silence for what felt like an eternity. Then my stomach dropped when I saw 3 red fingernail scratches across his forearm that were just barely sticking out below his shirt sleeve. It hit me. Uncle Doyle murdered that girl, and he knew that I saw him hide evidence. I stayed quiet, because what could I really say? The first thing I thought to do was to call my mom, since he was her actual brother. But then I realized that I needed to go straight to the captain. Uncle Doyle glanced over at me. "If you tell anyone what you think you saw, you will become an enemy to me. And do you have any idea what happens to my enemies?" I shook my head, terrified. My enemies end up face down in the LA River. I felt a chill go up my spine because I knew he wasn't kidding, but I didn't care about his threats. I cared more about truth and justice. So when we returned to the police station, I went straight to the captain's office and told him what I saw. He smirked. "You do realize what you're saying is a serious accusation, right?" "Yes, sir. Of course I do. But I swore an oath to uphold justice, and that's what I plan to do." He stared at me for a while, thinking about what to do, then called Uncle Doyle into his office. "Doyle, your nephew here is claiming you destroyed DNA evidence. Is there any truth to that claim?" He said it with a weird sarcasm, not believing it himself. Uncle Doyle smiled. "If you call me sanitizing my own hands destroying evidence, I guess so." They shared a comical glance, then cracked up laughing. "Way to go, Columbo. Great job with your investigation, dumbass." They laughed harder. Obviously my nephew's seeing things. It's his first day and his first dead body. He was shaking in his boots, pretty sure the little turd pissed himself. Fear makes the mind see weird shit. The captain nodded in agreement with him, and they started talking about football as if I didn't exist. I left, feeling obviously disappointed. I went straight to my mom's house and told her what I saw, and even she was doubtful. "Are you sure he wasn't cleaning his own hands? I mean, that doesn't sound like your uncle at all. He's always been the most honest, stand-up guy I've ever known. You probably..."
If he was the most honest, then why does the blood scars on his arm? It doesn't make any sense to me, dude.
Just saw it wrong. I clenched my fists, so enraged that no one was believing me. "No, I know what I saw, and he's hiding something."
Believe him,
the
damn
victim
it.
clawed
Believe
at him.
him.
I saw the scratch marks on his forearm. No matter what I said to her, she wasn't buying it. He could have gotten scratched from that weird cat he has or something else. I walked out and realized that I needed to build a real case on my own with legit evidence. I was mad at myself because I should have taken a picture of her fingernails. Uncle Doyle never thinks about modern technology and wouldn't ever think I would have taken a picture. It's too late now. I called the only person in the city of Los Angeles that I was sure was not LAPD. Maria Cho was a defense attorney who I'd met a few years ago. I called her, and by 11:15 a.m., I was in her downtown office. "This is probably not the first time your uncle's done this. Whatever you do next, I highly suggest that you do not go back into your division alone. Let me think about what to do. Go home and wait for my call." I did what she said, went home and sat on my couch. I started to doze off. then heard a loud bang at my front door.
Who's that?
Woke up startled and saw a man wearing a ski mask holding a sawed-off shotgun at me. My hands trembled and my heart was racing 1,000,000 miles per hour as I went to reach for my gun, but he slammed the butt of the shotgun across my face and knocked me out. I woke up in the trunk of a car in a panic. My wrists and ankles were zip-tied and I couldn't move. I was taught in the academy to control my breathing when in a terrifying situation, so I started taking in long, controlled breaths. The car drove for what felt like about an hour and stopped. I could smell dust, and the heat was building up badly. The trunk swung open, and I saw blinding yellow lights above. The same man in the ski mask pulled me out and dropped me on the concrete floor of an empty warehouse.
Okay.
He dragged me along the floor.
Is the warehouse the back room for some reason?
And tied me to a radiator pipe. The man pulled off his ski mask, and he
Mr. Queen!
had a long, jagged scar running down his cheek. He sat across and stared at me for a while, then lit a cigarette. You're probably wondering why I haven't killed you yet, huh? The thought did cross my mind. I might as well be honest with you. After you left the station, your uncle had me tail you, and he said, if you make any moves other than going home, I should grab you, take you out to the desert, and end your existence. So I planned on doing that. Then I got the text about how much he was offering me to do it.
How much?
$5 grand. Can you believe that bullshit? I am so sick and tired of these corporate cop types that claim to have no money and try and lowball you at
I feel like it might be fake. Okay, I'm not playing with it, but okay, but I feel like it might be fake. I feel like it might be the same thing as the toll paper thing over here, cause if someone did that over here and someone kidnapped somebody, like I would give him like $5 grand, like $5 grand to toll paper over here. I think so that might happen over here.
Return. I don't care. I texted him back and said, you better give me 20,000 or I'm not doing it. My uncle was notoriously cheap. Did he respond? Not yet. He took a picture of me tied up and sent it to Doyle. Maybe that'll motivate him to respond a little quicker. His phone rang almost immediately. I was terrified.
Hey, I'm your neighbor downstairs. Found a wallet.
Yeah,
I think
neighbor
it's
downstairs.
yours.
Almost immediately. I was terrified, yet intensely determined to escape. So I tried to dig into the zip ties with my fingernails and was slowly making progress while this guy put Doyle on speaker. Hello, Daddy Doyle. He
Okay, that sounds really unprofessional, don't you think? You really can't call someone Daddy Doyle. That sounds unprofessional, dude. Just unprofessional as hell. If you're gonna be a camp, please don't be embarrassing, dude.
Over the phone. He hates it when I call him that. You cheap son of a beach. What kind of bullshit are you trying to pull? I should be asking you that. I'm done being lowballed by you. You either get me 20 grand, or I'm letting your rookie nephew go. Up to you. There was a long pause from Uncle Doyle, as this guy winked at me and waited. Fine, send me your address. I'll swing by with the cash, you greedy d***. The guy hung up, sent a text, and did a celebratory dance. I was hit hard by the cold, hard reality of the cop life. My own uncle, someone I thought really cared about me, was paying a man to have me killed, and was so casual about it. That seriously enraged me. My guts turned into stone as I kept slicing and slicing my way through the zip ties, praying that I was able to get loose before Doyle arrived. A few minutes later, the warehouse doors swung open, and Doyle walked in with a duffel bag of what I was presuming to be the cash. He approached his guy with a cold look in his eyes. Here you go, you greedy f***. Are you seriously calling me the greedy one? When you're the asshole that's making serious bank on all of your corrupt side gigs? Watching my own uncle do this gave me a deep sense of rage from how betrayed I felt. Doyle shoved the duffel bag at him. Shut up and count it. The guy kneeled down, zipped open the bag, and pulled out toilet paper.
I know. I freaking knew it. I knew it. I knew there was toilet paper over here. I knew it.
He looked up at Doyle, and the last thing he saw was a gun barrel in his face. Doyle pulled the trigger, then turned and approached me.
Jeez.
My anger turned into pure fear when I saw firsthand what he was capable of doing. You know, I never liked you. I always thought you were a whiny little self-righteous asshole, thinking he's better than everyone. You aren't. You shit twice a day just like everyone else. You just have the worst timing because you happen to start on a day when things are kinda crazy for me. I thought of all the times when he helped me or taught me how to be a cop and got really sad because he used to look out for me. Why did you kill that girl, Uncle Doyle? Because I can get away with it and because I get off on the power. I can't help myself, but my—
You don't want to. Wow, that's as you just swear. I always just think that police officers never get arrested. Or, like, on time, I never think that before in my life, but I never knew.
Why did you kill that girl, Uncle Doyle? Because I can get away with it and because I get off on the power. I can't help myself. But my favorite part is watching suckers like you get really close to finding out, then failing. He let out a maniacal cackle. Plus, I'm sick and tired of beaches always thinking they can lead me on and then not put out. I'm done letting them get away with it. He checked the bullets in his gun. Well, it's time for you to go, kid. I'll make sure to cry extra hard next to your mother at your funeral. I'll even collect money from our whole family because I'll be so grief-stricken. He laughed again, stuck the gun against my head and hesitated. I closed my eyes in agony, thinking that the last person I would see before I died was my sick, corrupt asshole of an uncle. Then nothing happened. He was taking too long, and I saw that he was struggling to pull the trigger. You can't kill your own blood, can you? Shut the hell up. I could tell he was seriously conflicted. He was a very twisted guy, but killing a fellow cop and your own nephew crossed a line for him that he hadn't ever crossed. That's why he tried to pay someone else to do it. You could just let me go. It's never too late to do the right thing. Isn't that what you taught me? He laughed, thinking that was a ridiculous idea. Hell no. You know too much. He paced in a circle for a few moments, then got an idea, took out his cell phone and made a call. This is Doyle. I caught the guy, red-handed. I have him in my custody right now. You won't believe this shit. He's one of our own. My own blood. He dug up some seriously big crocodile tears. My heart's broken because I trained him myself. He was like a son to me. He's a psychopath that needs real help. So that was his plan.
So that's the one trying to kill... That's the one that you really call a hitman and kill your own son. I think you're the one who needs help, bro.
I think you're the one who needs help, dude. He hung up and smiled. There it is, you sick, perverted little murderer. Damn, I love my life. I was beyond disgusted by him and wanted nothing more than to get free.
Okay, Doyle, he was kidnapped. How could he done the murder? How could he done the murder?
It was at that moment I realized I would not hesitate in putting this animal down if I got the chance. In a deep drive for my survival, I relentlessly scraped my thumbnail through the zip ties, set myself free, waited for him to look away, then tackled him to the ground, and when he landed, I heard a crunch. He clutched his ribs in pain. I slugged him across the jaw, grabbed his handcuffs and cuffed him. He started laughing. Go ahead, you little dick. Who do you think they'll believe? A veteran hero or a rookie nobody? I froze because I knew...
When I heard like kills a son? Now we're calling it a hero to me.
He was right. I grabbed his gun, aimed it at him, feeling murderous rage, and then thought, I'll just look guilty if I end him and no one will believe me over him. That frustrated the crap out of me, but I needed to get out of here, figure out how to gather some kind of evidence and bring it to my lawyer and then the cops. I stepped out of the warehouse and was conflicted when I saw both cars. Doyle's cop car and the hitman's car. Which one do I use? If I get caught in either one, I'm screwed. I figured I might as well use the hitman's car, especially if Doyle had already called the cops and they were on their way. They would definitely be looking for his squad car. Then I heard sirens, looked up, and saw 3 cop cars already approaching. I jumped into the hitman's car and peeled out. We were in the middle of an industrial area, but I wasn't sure if the cops saw me.
Family proof your family.
Dude, man, what's freaking...
With Life 360.
Life 360.
My plushie lives an adorable secret life when I'm not looking. And now yours can too. All it takes...
The hitman's car and peeled out. We were in the middle of an industrial area, but I wasn't sure if the cops saw me take off. I sped around to the back of the warehouse and drove down an alleyway. As I was going, one of the cop cars spotted me. Crap. I hit the gas, then heard the cop cars peeling out, turning down an alleyway and speeding towards me. I floored it, hit the on-ramp up onto the freeway, and started passing as many cars as I could. I thought about pulling over, but it would be my word against Doyle's. I knew that I didn't stand a chance. I had to figure out some other way to prove it to them before they captured me. As I was speeding down the freeway, I saw 5 new police cars merge on and join the chase. My heart sank and my fear grew because now every cop in the city would be gunning for me. 3 minutes later, the helicopters and the news vans also started following and filming me. I was that idiot on the local news of Los Angeles that was now in a high-speed chase. I hoped my mom wasn't watching. I was feeling more and more hopeless the longer the chase went on. It wouldn't have helped me to pull over, so I committed fully. I went a few more miles towards downtown LA and exited. I holed butt around the city streets with the cop cars right on my tail. I turned down empty alleyways and one-way streets, trying my best to get away and failing at every turn. I was starting to feel hopeless and desperate. Then I finally saw a homeless encampment on Skid Row and drove right into the middle of it. Several homeless people stepped out of their tents and smacked my car. I drove down a ramp that led down into the underground. I made it to an area of homeless people that were living in hundreds of tents in between subway stops. I hit the brakes and jumped out of the car. I saw the cop cars a few hundred yards behind me and took off running. They also jumped out of their squad cars and chased me on foot. I saw an older homeless woman and she waved me into her tent. I looked back and saw the cops gaining on me and didn't have a choice but to follow this woman. Her tent was full of food cans, blankets, and clothes. She handed me a different shirt, jacket, and a hat. Put this on quick, then pretend to be asleep. I slipped on the clothes, put on the hat, and laid down on a thin mattress. The woman laid down behind me and put her arms around me as if we were a sleeping couple. The cops whipped open the entrance to her tent and saw us. We both pretended to be asleep and she snored loudly, really selling it. The two cops looked closely at us. I held my breath, thinking I was screwed. After a few moments, they left. I thanked the woman by giving her all the cash in my pocket, and I left. I was so moved by this woman's kindness. She gave me a little hope in humanity. I snuck out of the underground and made my way back up to the city streets. I ducked into alleys and hopped in a cab. I needed to make it to my lawyer Maria Cho's office, hoping she could help. I knocked on her window and scared the heck out of her. I climbed in, and before I could say anything, "What the hell did you do?" She had the TV on, and it was replaying my cop car chase. She stared at me like I was guilty. Doyle's setting me up. She was skeptical. "I'm sorry. I can't help you. My reputation's on the line. I have worked very hard to build it over the last 10 years. I can't..."
Okay, and your point is, help him out. Why does your reputation matter?
"Be seen harboring a fugitive. What the hell? You said you'd help me. That was before you made the news. I'm really sorry, but I have to turn you in." She pulled a handgun out of her drawer and aimed it at me. I was betrayed yet again. She was the one person I had trusted, and now she's acting like I'm a murderer. I was so frustrated and at a loss, so I held up my arms in surrender and slowly made my way over to her. "Don't take another step. I will open fire." Her assistant rushed in, not knowing what was happening. The lawyer glanced at her, so I used that as a distraction to smack the gun out of her hand, jumped back out of the window, and escaped. I realized that the only way I was going to prove my innocence was to somehow find more evidence on my uncle and show it to the captain. My mom started calling and texting me, and I needed to talk to her and let her know that I wasn't guilty. She had probably seen the news and was horrified. I called her. "Mom, whatever you think about me, it isn't true. You think your brother is the innocent one here, and you're flat out wrong." There was a moment of silence on the other end as she was crying. "I don't know what to believe, honey, but I think you should turn yourself in and let the powers that be help you find justice. The powers that be are being fooled by Uncle Doyle, and I'm gonna prove it. And you're gonna regret not believing me, Mom. Your own effing son." I hung up, beyond pissed off. I dressed up like a homeless person and snuck up to my uncle's house at around midnight. He wasn't there. I had my own key and quietly entered and started looking around. I searched every room in his house and didn't find anything. Then I happened to glance up into the ceiling and smelled a strong odor of alcohol and cleaning products. I looked closer and realized that he had an attic. I found the opening, pulled down the ladder, and climbed up to see stacks and stacks of boxes. I started going through each one and found several small pictures of many different women. I also found a box full of gold necklaces and bracelets with a small tag that showed a name and a date. He had been doing this for a very long time, and I was deeply disgusted and horrified. I snapped pictures of every single picture and piece of jewelry. Then I climbed down and saw the front door opening. I quickly hid in the closet and heard my uncle entering. I could see him through the crack of the closet. I held my breath and stayed as still as possible. He walked over to the minibar, fixed himself a drink, then stopped cold. He glanced up directly at me. He slowly set down his drink and faced the closet I was hiding in. Then, as if he was a cowboy in the Old West, he drew his handgun and fired into the closet. I was shocked. My hands trembled. He put a hole through the door and grazed my side with a bullet. By some miracle, I managed to stay quiet, but felt blood trickling down my side, and I almost blacked out from the pain, but barely held it together. Then my uncle looked down at his smoking gun, downed his drink, and cracked up laughing to himself as if he was being paranoid. I used his jacket and soaked up the blood that was dripping. About an hour later, he fell asleep on the couch, and I snuck out of the closet, tiptoed to the door, and stopped cold when I heard him snoring. I slowly and quietly opened the front door and snuck out. I waited near a trash can in front of the police station until sunrise and saw the captain arrive. Then I entered the station with my hands up. 10 cops pulled out their guns on me. My captain stepped out, and seconds later, Uncle Doyle walked in, and they all saw me. I held my phone in my hand with my pictures app pulled up and blood dripping down the side of my leg. I witnessed my uncle destroy evidence and found these pictures up in his attic. I believe this is evidence of trophies that he's kept over the last 20 or 30 years of murders that he's committed. My uncle's face dropped.
Put God's word on your lock screen, and it changes every day. And it's really cool because you don't even have to open.
Face dropped. Then the captain started laughing out loud. All of the other cops joined in on the laughter, as if I was some big joke. Are you freaking kidding me? I've known Sergeant Doyle over 30 years. Is this some kind of a prank? No, this is serious. I saw it with my own eyes. They cracked up laughing even harder. When Doyle saw what was happening, he joined in with the laughter, knowing he was in the clear. My own flesh and blood tries to frame me for a murder he committed. It is funny, but it's also kind of sad. I care so much about truth and justice, and
if you care about justice so much, then why did you kill the girl?
the fact that I trained you and you've become this sick monster really breaks my heart. He pretended to get choked up, and out of the corner of his eye, he winked at me. Of course, no one saw it but me. Then the captain got in my face. You're about to learn a hard lesson of life, boy. You're a lying, murdering, delusional f***. Cuff him now. They arrested me on the spot and booked me. They took my phone, and a few hours later, when I demanded that they look at the photographs, they claimed that there weren't any pictures on my phone anymore. My uncle must have secretly erased them. I got my wound fixed up. Then I was put in a jail cell. I called up.
How did he erase the pictures? He didn't even have the phone. How did he erase the pictures? That must be made that impressive.
Maria Cho and explained everything to her. You need to get a warrant so you can look inside my uncle's attic, and do it as quickly as you can, because he will destroy the evidence that's there. It took her 3 days, and she finally got a search warrant and searched his attic. Of course, she found nothing. He cleaned it out and covered his tracks. I felt like my entire world was falling down around me. There was no truth, no justice, and the entire system was a corrupt lie. Then the whole case against me changed during my first night in jail. I was abruptly woken up by a massive man with a knife standing beside me. He had a vicious glare in his eyes, and we both knew why he was there and who sent him. I felt terror, which quickly turned into pure rage for my survival. He stabbed at my head, and I slipped out below him. He grabbed me and slammed me into the wall, and then the small sink. I was fading fast and felt my world spinning out. I dug deep, gathered all of my strength, made my way around to his back, put him in a rear naked chokehold, and put him to sleep. An hour later, I called Maria Cho. My uncle just had someone try to kill me. You need to figure out a way to get a judge to give you permission to check his phone records. He sucks with technology and will forget to erase any texts or calls he had with the guy who just attacked me. A few hours later, Maria Cho met with me at the police station meeting room. Please, tell me you have something. I don't know if I'll survive another night in here. She touched my hand. I was able to get a judge to let me look at your uncle's phone records, and you were right. He's so sloppy. I found calls and texts to the man that attacked you. I have proof. Real proof that shows your uncle sent him to murder you. The judge is letting you out in an hour, and there's someone else here that wants to speak with you. My jaw dropped when I saw the captain sit down across from me. Son, I want to apologize to your face. Right now, I have every cop on the force gathering evidence on your uncle. They've been sending me pictures all day of the horrendous crap he's been doing. You were right. Later that afternoon, I waited with the captain out front of Uncle Doyle's house when he was dragged out in handcuffs by 2 cops. This is crazy. The whole world's out to get me. None of this is true. Fake news.
Dude, there's like evidence in your attic. You sort of worked it out, dude. So that is so. You're just trying to lie now.
I couldn't let him fool himself. The evidence speaks for itself, you piece of shit. You're a disgrace to the police force, to our family, and what it means to be human. You deserve to rot in prison surrounded by criminals that will always be trying to hunt you down and kill you. Good luck with that. And everyone you've ever known, our whole family included, knows what a piece of shit you really are. That cold, hard truth registered in his eyes, and he knew that I was right. He started crying like a baby. Please, you can't put me in there. I'm not cut out for it. I'm begging you guys. I gave him a taste of his own medicine and started laughing in his face. You're a ridiculous clown. Do you really think any of us are buying your big fake tears? Not this time, asshole. He stopped crying and turned hard. His true sick self finally came out. My captain had heard enough. Shove a gag in his mouth. The cop stuck a gag in his mouth, momentarily choking him. The captain turned to me and put his arm around me. Great work, kid. I think you have a bright future with us. After my uncle was driven away, my mom showed up. I am so sorry I didn't believe you, honey. You were right. I just couldn't see the truth. I hope one day you can forgive me. I pulled her into a hug. Just so relieved and happy that all of this was finally over. I've already forgiven you, Mom. There wasn't even a court case because my uncle confessed to everything and got put away for life. The captain made sure that they stuck him in general population up at Rikers prison so that every murderer knew who he was and was truly gunning for him. We're all placing bets at the station that he won't last more than a month.
Give him about 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure he won't last 2 weeks in prison. But anyway, guys, we got the video, and I'm going to get the bunch of if I can see guys, I know we got the comments. End up to the next video. The guys might attack to more his other videos. Obviously enough, it's called Mafia King at me. And also nice to meet. And guys, goodbye already. Alright, I did part episode 1 of Life is Jane for the Storm, so part 2 out tomorrow. And guys, goodbye already.